Hello, hello, good people. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Make America Think Again with Vaughn, or Car Conversations. If you're joining me over here on YouTube, I thank you all for subscribing. I thank you for sharing the videos. I thank you for following me on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so today I want to give you an update on these dueling theories that we have about Kirk's passing, CK's passing. I want to give you the dueling theories. So this week, they released. When I say they, I'm talking about Utah's law enforcement. They released a little more information about Tyler Robinson, okay? The alleged pew pew shooter. I'm just gonna go ahead and say shooter. The alleged shooter of CK. So here's where I had some problems. Number one, I had a problem with the way that I had a problem with, sorry, call came in. I had a problem with the text messages that they showed us, and they said, oh, this is a text exchange between Tyler and his significant other, partner, etc. And again, harping on the fact that this individual roommate is supposedly transgender, transitioning from male to female. I don't know how many times they said that. I'm like, dude, we really don't care. But you know, that neck of the woods, they care. But here's what struck me in regards to the text messages. Okay, so number one, what 22-year-old, what Gen Z, what member of Gen Z do you know that texts that way? There were complete sentences. There were terms like vehicle, and there were just terms that really were giving Gen X. Let me say that. A lot of terms that I'm like, no 22-year-old writes like this. And then also, this is via text. So you got to think, even if they might write like that, you know, in actual writing, this is a text exchange. So there's punctuation, there's terms like an old, you know, calling his dad old man, and talking about interrogated, use the terms interrogated, drop point. The text going to say, I had enough of his hatred, referring to Kirk. And then, you know, he goes on to say that, you know, they got some old dude, but, you know, I don't know if they took him into custody or something like that. This person, whomever wrote this, uses the term squad car, serial number, and just, it's too lengthy, it's too wordy, there's punctuation. Gen Z, if you read their texts, they're very short. Things are not spelled out. They're not complete sentences. There were paragraphs. Come on. Who's doing that? I don't even, I mean, beyond Gen Z, who's really texting like that? Did you write the whole book? Like, and the text, the thing about it also, the other thing about it is, it literally hit all the key points that they would need to say, hey, this is the person. How he planned it, well, you know, what he planned, exactly when he planned it. So, you know, that would allude to premeditation, because I think in the text it said a week and a half he'd been planning it. So you're telling me that, you know, somebody who actually believed they could pull something like this off would only planned for a week and a half. And then it's just so happens to be that he discusses the when, the where, the why, like all of that is in this text. So it's like, oh, we could just build a case off of this text exchange between Tyler and the roommate. Um, just today, it came out that there was no evidence was found that Tyler had any connections to any left-leaning groups. And that is coming from this administration's FBI, CIA, Secret Service, etc. This administration's. So they have said no left-leaning groups. There's no evidence of that. The second thing I want to say that came out this week is that Tyler, in playing these Fortnite games or whatever video games he's playing, his log on or the name he used was Donald Trump. He was using Donald Trump's name for whatever character he uses in these games. So I don't know, that seems like an appreciation to me, but also this Groyper group, according to what I've learned, they don't believe that the felon leans far right enough. So I don't know, but that came out this week that in the video games, or at least one video game, he was using the felon's name to represent him in this game, in the character. And supposedly, according to reporting on CNN, he confessed actually that same day to some of his fellow gamers, about 20 to 30 of them that were online. And still the FBI couldn't find him. If he really confessed to these people online, the FBI still needed his parents to turn him in. Like, so were you just not doing your job? Or, I'm just saying. So yeah, apparently he confessed online. Then it went silent in this group. Then the next day, somebody in the group popped up and said, well, hey, let's pray for Tyler and his family. And this was reported on CNN. But here's something that I found a little more interesting. So here's the dueling theory. The dueling theory is Candace Owens. So Candace Owens, according to her, she said that Kirk had a run-in with somebody by the last name of Ackman in the Hamptons. And basically Ackman and Netanyahu wanted Kirk to push the Zionist narrative. And Kirk was moving away from that. They offered him a large sum of money to do so. Kirk rejected that. And so according to Candace, she posted this online, basically who took a hit out on Kirk. Now, for those of you who don't know, Candace Owens did used to work for Turning Point. It appears from some of the pictures and photos and videos that I've seen that she and Kirk were good friends. So yeah, so she has said this is her theory. We also have, in his own words, there are videos out there of Kirk. First of all, he said at a Turning Point event, release all the Epstein files. I don't know why you won't just release the Epstein files. And this event was with him and Megyn Kelly, and they were having a discussion. And then you see, flash forward, he's in his studio, and Megyn Kelly apparently calls in, and they're talking, and he's like, I'm getting all these anti-Semitic texts, and these people are disparaging my character now just because I allowed a certain person on stage, or just because I don't, aspire to these views. I believe in America first, et cetera, et cetera. So there's that's two. pieces of evidence. And then there's another piece of evidence where he's talking about Epstein was part of Mossad, and he goes deep into the Israel stuff. So I've already told you, I already gave you a whole video of what I thought was crazy that they wanted us to believe about this kid, Tyler. You know, the whole gun situation or pew pew situation, I keep forgetting, how he was supposedly used it, dismantled it, went into the woods, reassembled it, left it. Then there was a change of clothing. Also, that's in these text messages as well. Dude, he did all that. He did all that in a matter of seconds. We see where he runs across the building, he slides down the building, and they're claiming that the gun was still fully assembled, but in his, down his pants. How is he running? How is he bending his knees? And then I also still have questions about the security that was right around Kurt. What was with all the signals? What was all that? What was all that? The cat? What was all that? So I don't know. Candace Owens is making some sense to me. It just seems like it's something bigger than what law enforcement in Utah and what this administration wants us to believe. And y'all know I didn't believe that damn ear shit. And y'all were, Maga was running around wearing maxi pads on the ears and etc. We never heard anything from that kid's family. We never saw anything else about that kid. They said, the kid was unalive, but we never heard another word. Never heard another word. And now, so you have this individual that is locked up on suicide watch, and you got this long text message chain between him and an alleged lover or significant other, and none of it makes sense. None of that makes sense. None of it makes sense. The only part to me that I could actually buy into is the fact that the family is totally MAGA. This young man may be of a different sexuality that they don't approve of. That's where the disagreement came in and about, or the friction or the separation between the family came about. And this young man lives with this roommate now. I can see that, especially since the grandmother jumped out there and was like, hey, whoa. There's no blue stuff here. We don't do that in this family. We're all red, we all MAGA. So I can see that. He was raised on MAGA ways, the guns, the religion, the homophobia, all of that. I can see that. But I am not convinced. And I'm definitely not convinced. I'm even less convinced when they produce these text messages. And then in seeing these videos with Kirk in his own words, they're coming out of his mouth that he's saying about Israel, Mossad, Epstein. It makes you wonder. So there are dueling theories out there. I think the right is having a struggle within itself about this situation, and I'll keep you posted.